All right, let's start first and foremost by defining what is to be deceived. To be deceived means to cause to accept as true or valid what is false or invalid. The synonyms for deceived: beguile, mislead, delude. This is from Merriam-Webster dictionary. Implies imposing a false idea or a belief that causes ignorance, bewilderment, or helplessness. So I go to this slide, that's where this is explained. Now let's look at examples where deception has worked to detrimental effect on the individual as well as the whole people. This is a story that you can read. It's on Facebook. The link is given below. Written by somebody who is complaining about an incident that involves someone who had a belief and then went on to express their belief on what they met in the streets. This is my friend Mike. He is from the Netherlands. Mike told me a very funny but disgraceful story of how an African woman, a Nigerian Yoruba, met him in a supermarket and started worshipping, praising, and calling him Jesus. She even started telling him her problems. Mike was so embarrassed and had to call the police because she was following him, speaking in English, in a native tongue, and another language similar to English Pidgin, and was heavily speaking in tongues, making phone calls, calling her pastor. She even said they should come and fast before Jesus disappears. That's when Mike got mad and called the police. Mike kept on telling her that he wasn't Jesus, but she didn't believe him. I just told Mike not to even step his legs in Africa because even the police would come with water for him to turn into wine. This is a very interesting and very depressing story. We all feel sorry for our sister here. She is trusting, in effect, she is deceived. What can you do? Who else is deceiving us? My religion is Kamitics. Ubuntu Mahat consciousness is my spirituality. I am a Kamitician. Let us ask a question again. And when we answer this, let us review our answer in terms of deception. Why is China investing billions in Africa? You can go to this YouTube and watch it. If you are an African, whether rich or poor, educated or ignorant, religious or otherwise, you ought to ask this question. Do you know why China is investing in Africa? Do you know China's aim? Any politician, man or a woman, rich or poor, educated or dumb, who does not understand the Paekche Principle is a traitor to the survival of melanin-dominant humans. Religious ignorance as well as political stupidity is costing us dearly. It's time the masses wake up fast. Our identity is correctly and obviously linked to the shocking genocide that destroyed our black ancestors in China. And that is also misleading us in our belief systems. This is the book Paekche Principles, The Great Secret of Asia by Brother MDH. Your identity, when awakened, must fight for you and for the restoration of its original purpose on the planet Earth. If you as a citizen find yourself asking, why as a race are we experiencing life far removed from our identity, which is an identity of greatness, smartness, intelligence, wisdom, cooperation, working together, and resolving issues, like our sister who worshipped another human being, despite that human being telling her that is not Jesus, who failed to validate exactly how she came to understand what she was doing and why she was doing what she was doing, which was pretty dumb and daft. This is an indication, once you think about it, that expectations and reality have been tampered with. Our politicians too have been totally deceived by China and are leading the masses to think that China is our friend, just like our sister who thought Mike was her savior. These examples are indeed a wake-up call to those that are smart, you and me, if by any chance you have come to realize that we got a real work to do. The dire need is to inform the masses. If you are interested in working together with us, give us a call and let us share these thoughts together and fight for our dear lives. Unit is how the elites run this earth. Now, this offer to network gratis free, you are free to let this opportunity go by. However, if you are smart and you know what you want, you know that you want more details, do not hesitate or delay. Shoot us an email on join@marifado.com, as well as visit our website www.marifado.com. Let's now continue. We know that the African grassroots and traditional leaders are dead asleep. They think that the Chinese are our great friends because they have been conditioned into believing that this is an economic friend. But when you go into the actual daily activities in China, in their public media, as well as their social media and their lives in China, it is quite clear that what is happening is totally different from what the politicians and the investors that come from China into Africa try to portray. There is an advert here that was later removed of a Chinese detergent manufacturer who was advertising how effective their product was. That was 2016 from the Observer, the Guardian, whereby this black fella was put into a machine, a washing machine, and came out a Chinese. And this had great problems in China, but there are many other stories that we shall demonstrate today. And here is what one of the thinkers in Africa said concerning China. He said there is a belief that since Africa got a raw deal from the colonial West, then the Chinese must be Africa's best friend. But the evidence does not show that. And the main criticism is that they are building infrastructure in exchange for Africa's resources in deals that are structured to favor China. So that has answered one of the questions about political deception. But the masses are completely asleep, and the leadership is completely asleep. Even the traditional leadership is fast asleep. Recently in Ghana, they installed a Chinese as chief. A Chinese man has just been made chief in Ghana. This is pathetic, depressing, and shameful. And look at the people are lifting him up and raising him and worshipping him. What's the difference with that sister of ours who was worshipping a man from the Netherlands? And we think Ghana is advanced. And we think Ghana is full of people that are awake. And look at the masses, what they are doing there. A man from China named Sun Qing has become chief of Kwahu Abetif, a town in the east region of Ghana. He was given a Ghanaian name called Barima Kofi Aibafoa, and his title is Nix Hene, which means development chief. China is one of the most infrastructurally developed nations in the world, and it is hoped that Sun Qing will replicate what China has done. You can go to this website, and when they say China is one of the infrastructurally developed nations in the world, they don't tell you everything. They don't answer where did China get that money. How did China get that money? Will display and show you the evidence that it's not even China that is developing China. It's not even the Chinese that own the Chinese economy. At the same time, when they are coronating these Chinese as chiefs, look what they are doing in their museum. They're displaying the black people as monkeys. Look at that. This is exactly what's there in China. An exhibit which was eventually removed after complaints by Africans included photographs, loads of photographs that were taken by Yu Huingping, a construction magnate who had traveled to Africa more than 20 times. So he was coming to Africa more than 20 times, and he took pictures and won awards for his work and was vice president of Hubei Photographers Association. And then he went on to display black people and compare them with baboons, monkeys, and chimpanzees. It's there in China. It's in the public. It was in the museum. Everyone could see that. You think Ghana is worse, but look, in Nigeria, they also coronated another Chinese as chief. There it is. They gave him everything: kente, cloth, African cloth, walking stick, and he's a Chinese. Eventually, all this what is leading to are small steps that will eventually install Xi Jinping as Africa's president. What will you do if all the Africans now say, we want Xi Jinping to replace all our presidents and he should become president? All the leaders in Africa that are praising people doing this stuff of installing Chinese as sub-chiefs here and there, soon we'll have parliaments filled with Chinese. This is how Vietnam and East Asia became filled up with Chinese. But when they were asked whether China is colonizing Africa or not, here is what former president of China, Wen Jiabao, said. He said China has established friendship with many African countries and is opening itself up to Africa and providing assistance. It is cooperating with African countries on an equal basis and has no desire to colonize Africa. Here is a question. Let us ask, if indeed they wanted to colonize Africa, would they tell us, oh yes, we want to colonize you? No, they wouldn't do that. All we need to know is the Paekche Principle. And very, very few know that. The shocking evidence is that this is a form of neocolonialism. And it is just a soft step towards something that is far worse. Because at the present moment, 80% of Africa is owned by non-Africans and the corporate bodies. Colonialism is not dead. What's going on? So the tricks of all this have to do with debt and the money that is poured into Africa and given to politicians, with the knowledge that these politicians will never be able to have economic policies and strategies to pay back these loans. It's just like a bank, where you go to the bank and the bank asks for collateral and you say, okay, I'll give you a house if I don't pay. And if you don't pay back the loan, they come and take your house. This is exactly what China is doing. China has become the new face of neocolonialism in Africa, having loaned tens of billions of dollars to the continent, governments knowing that in all likelihood, many of those debts will never be repaid. Beijing proceeded on the presumption that its access to Africa's markets enhanced its influence and ability to exploit the continent's rich deposits of natural resources. That's all that China wants. And they would compensate it for any unpaid loans. And eventually, many companies in Africa and many countries are going to be taken over very simply. China has got trillions of dollars that it was given by the World Bank. The World Bank has the authority and mandate to print money. So they go on a printing machine, they print trillions of dollars and they say they are rich, they've got money, and give it to China, and China goes to Africa with the simple papers that are called money and take gold, diamonds, animals, lands, anything they want. And our politicians in Africa are excited. They say China has a lot of money. If you've got a project, bring them here, and then we got a lot of money to fund your project. And that's unfortunate. It's really, really a sad scenario. Yet the Chinese, their real agenda is what is known as the Paekche Principles. If you don't understand the Paekche Principles, you are dead and buried. If you're a politician and you don't understand it, you are a useless politician. When you face China, they'll play ball with you and you never know what's hitting you from the left, from the right, up and bottom. The Paekche Principle, if you understand it, you realize the longest war ever fought is going on in history. You also understand the oldest cold case and greatest genocide ever committed in history. A tragic event closely linking Africa, Japan and China, and the origin of endless conflict today pitting Japan and China is what drives the Paekche Principles. You also discover the ruthless genocide perpetrated between 658 and 660 AD by China on millions of indigenous melanin-dominant humans, Bantus, so-called Negritoes, indigenous black peoples of Asia, by the Chinese hands. The Paekche Principle tells us and teaches us about the kingdom of African culture that founded Japan, Korea, and China. The history of Asia was later rewritten by the Chinese hands, and it took its current form in order to conceal this genocide. It completely deleted the Paekche Principle and history and imposed China's Mongoloid Han supremacy. African science, medical system, so-called Chinese medicine today, knowledge and elements of technological advancement were all appropriated and stolen by these new Chinese in 668 AD. It reappeared later in the 15th century in the hands of the Korean King Sejong. In the Paekche's publication, it becomes clear and is revealed in a series of chapters, the deciphered texts, proving that the African nature of this science is still coded in the works that are found in all so-called Chinese civilization. Not Chinese, it's African civilization. There is one more proof here. It has been proven that the three major dynasties of China were black: the Xia dynasty, the Shang, the Yin dynasty, and the Zhou dynasty, and that these Chinese ancestors are who we know today as the San people. Says the YouTube we are given here. You must understand also that there's a global agenda against black Asians, and all comes out of the Paekche Principles. And so when you do this, and when you allow China to give you $60 billion as soft loan and love, and you think they are your best friend, you must know the Paekche Principle where it is going. China wants everything in Africa. Eventually, it wants the continent without the people. Do you know this is China's aim? It is shocking that the masses and leaders think that China is Africa's friend without them knowing the Paekche Principles. You have to ask, if you meet a Chinese, do you know the Paekche Principles? Ask them about what happened to the black indigenous people who populated China and East Asia. When you read the Paekche Principles, you will learn exactly how far an agenda to wipe up the black race out of the face of the earth is, and where it is going, and the dire need for the masses to be awakened today, if not yesterday. Let's work together to spread this message. China is not Africa's friend, but is a new colonizer, if not worse. Let's go a little bit deeper where we said we wanted to show that China does not own even its economy. Here's what George Soros says. You go to this website and you read what George Soros says. He says China must be involved in the creation of the new world order. They must own it in the same way the United States owns the current one. So this matter has taken a higher gear up. If you are interested in all this work, send us an email so we do some work together. We want to thank you in advance for that. And remember, our calling is in waking up ourselves and informing the masses and changing our lives, becoming smarter and working with our identity day by day, so that if ever we are to pass on into the other afterlife, we are armed and we know where we are going. Because if you think that death in your ignorance will solve your problems, you will be recycled back and you will face the same scenario. Subscribe to our channel, Community Brew Ethics, and our email is join@marfado.com. This is preacher Rabbi LM Tumizulu saying, till we meet again, siyabonga tatenda edupe henkos.